Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound. Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue. Please enter the meeting passcode followed by pound. You have not.
Good.
Please re-enter the meeting passcode.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome you all here again for our Thursday, May 14th, 2026 Board of Education meeting. We are calling the meeting to order, and it is 7:10 p.m. And if you could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm ahead of myself. It is May 5th, 2026. Sorry about that, not May 14th. Let's see. A reading of meeting notice. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies in which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Verona Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published in the Star Ledger online and can also be viewed by the public on the board's official website as linked in the paper agenda. Legal notices for New Jersey public entities will also be accessible at the New Jersey Department of State's Legal Notices website, also linked on the paper agenda. Copies of tonight's agenda and resolutions have been made available to the public via the Board of Education website. Dr. Riley, if you could please call attendance.
Mr. Waka.
Present.
Mr. Perna.
Here.
Ms. Knodig. Remote.
Please enter the meeting.
Mrs. Frisco.
Sorry,
Here.
can you hear me?
Mr. Boone.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Moving on to our superintendent report by Ms. Diane DiGiuseppe.
Good evening. I wanted to take a moment to thank the community members who have shared emails, questions, budgetary priorities, and suggestions with me, Dr. Riley, and the Board of Education. We understand that there are many competing priorities for limited district funds and appreciate the care, creativity, and commitment reflected in the feedback we've received. Community ideas and perspectives are important, and I don't want to dismiss them. At the same time, developing a school budget is not simply a matter of collecting ideas and choosing from among them. It requires specialized knowledge of state funding, contractual obligations, certification requirements, mandated services, negotiated salary guides, health benefit costs, special education obligations, transportation requirements, class size trends, enrollment, scheduling constraints, and the legal and personnel implications of any proposed reduction. The budget has been developed by credentialed educational leaders in the district's central and business office with input from building administrators, supervisors, and program leaders. This does not mean we believe we have every answer. We do not. It does mean that the people working on the budget understand the full scope of what must be preserved, what is legally required, what is educationally necessary, and what can realistically be implemented. Many suggestions may sound workable in isolation, but become much more complicated when applied across an entire K-12 educational system. Following the failed budget vote on April 28th, we carefully reviewed the feedback shared by students, parents, staff, and community members. One message was especially clear. The community values having a dedicated vocal and instrumental music teacher at Verona High School, as well as a dedicated instrumental specialist for grade 4 band. And the community also spoke very clearly about concerns about the elementary impact. With some adjustments to the current staffing model, we believe we can address the concerns for 26-27 school year. The revised plan with regard to the music program would move Verona High School to part-time music staffing model, one with a teacher dedicated to instrumental music and band and another to vocal music require. This would require some reassignment and shifting of current music staff, but it would preserve dedicated expertise in both areas at the high school level. And it would also allow for, and at the elementary level, students would continue to receive services, 3 trimesters of general vocal music, and 3 trimesters of grade 4 band taught by a dedicated instrumental specialist. All elementary students will also continue to have at least one special per day, every day throughout the entire year. And many days they will actually wind up with more than one special per day. For additional clarity, each K-4 student will have PE and PE/health twice a week for 45 minutes for the full school year. Each student in the elementary K-4 will have Spanish, library, and art once a week for 45 minutes for 2 trimesters. And they will have, as I said, general music across all 3. Additional whole class instruction in chorus will also continue, as will the ability to check books out across the entire school year. So book checkout will be available to students each week, every week. We are also actively thinking about how to best showcase student work with regard to visual arts and concerts, performance art. So that scheduling is going to be coordinated jointly between teachers and building administrators. While planning is still underway, we maintain opportunities for every student to share their hard work with the community in the form of art shows and concerts. Finalized schedules for buildings and classrooms will not be developed until later in the school year, when student registration is complete as possible, and IEPs for students receiving special education services are finalized. This allows our building schedules to reflect the actual enrollment, student needs, staffing assignments, and required services. And we also had some concerns about counseling at the elementary level. Counseling service will continue to be coordinated across the district. Mrs. Ackerman, our Director of School Counseling, works closely with building administration to ensure support is available when needed. In practice, when an immediate concern is identified, staff communicate with the building principal, who then partners with Mrs. Ackerman to determine the most appropriate response. We also have a partnership as a result of the 2017 second question with Care Plus. They are a therapeutic school-based service that we are required to keep because it was voted on by the public as a yes question. Those therapeutic social workers are also available to work with our students across the district. We have support in the form of social workers that are assigned as members of the child study team. And at the elementary level, there's an additional social worker and 2 additional school psychologists. That while we typically think of child study team as working with our students with special needs, in the elementary child study team world, they very often work with our general education population as well in an effort to keep students out of the special ed pipeline. So while it looks on paper that we are really reducing counseling services to kids in elementary, we are not. We still have enough counseling services to address any mental health needs or any emotional support needs that our students will require. I think that's what I wanted to say tonight. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anybody have any comments for Ms. DiGiuseppe up here? Moving on, I'm going to open up the public comments on agenda action items. So anything regarding anything we will be voting on tonight, personnel or finance, which is the budget, you have this opportunity to come up to the podium. Again, just please state your name clearly. You have 3 minutes to address your concerns. And if there is an answer, someone will answer you at the end of the public comment. Are there any? Thank you.
Good evening, Brendan Walsh from Verona. So first of all, thank you. I don't necessarily understand everything. I'm still trying to absorb what you just said, but thank you for listening. It certainly sounds like an improvement. Hopefully going forward, and I understand that that it is a specialized process, that there's a lot going on, but in the future, I think it would be good to have more transparency. So I guess something to think about for next year. Just a few questions. I think you said the plan is to move to a part-time staffing schedule for the high school music program. I would just be, I don't know if you can say anything more than that. That would be helpful just to understand a little bit more.
I can because there's not a line of people behind you.
Oh,
tonight,
sure.
so rather
Okay.
than waiting to
And
the end.
then one other question I have just has to do, we were at the town council meeting last night. There was a discussion of pilots. And I've learned more about pilots than I ever wanted to know. I know there's a long history going back, more than a decade that I was not aware of. One of the things that the town council said was that there was never a specific request from the school board this past year for pilots. I was hoping that you could address that and
It's
maybe.
not accurate.
Okay,
I'm
so
gonna say right away.
I would
Not
love to hear
accurate.
your perspective on that.
Highly inaccurate.
Yeah,
We
so
had a joint meeting in this room with the council where we debated over whether or not we should be receiving pilot funds.
right, and I know there was a video. I didn't watch the whole 2 hour. I watched parts of it. I created a transcript, read parts of it, but I think so I'm just trying to understand what was actually requested, and maybe I would like to just hear your version of that. So those are the two things that I'm wondering about. Thank you again.
I can go back to the video and be more clear, and I don't want to misspeak, but I do know I mentioned that at some point, without support from, as our numbers grow as a result of occupants moving into those pilot-funded housing facilities, that something has to give. And I remember saying that very clearly. I believe one of the council people actually blogged about it, about what I said. I said, we are a school district first and foremost, and what we would wind up cutting eventually, when it got to that point, would be things like our athletics and music and art program. And for those of you that are nodding that either watched the video or were present that night, you can't get more clear than asking for support and explaining what could happen potentially to our district if we didn't get support. I will say that Mrs. Prisco spoke at a council meeting.
At the council meeting on May 6th, 2024. At that time, I was the board president. And that was when Conifer Realty, who was the developer for the Lynn Drive project across the street from the community center. I went to that meeting. I spoke and I said to the council that we were going to need them to work with us because we were going to be in big trouble based off of just enrollment numbers and what could be coming out from a new development with special ed needs and all of the above. So I did speak on May 6, 2024. You could watch that meeting on the YouTube. And also we had our joint meeting on March 25th, 2025 with the town council. At the time, Denise Verzella was our president. She coordinated that. So we have been trying to just go back because I did watch the council meeting last night, and this has been an ongoing issue, discussions for years, way back before I was even on the board. It went back to John Quattrochi, Glenn Elliott, Mr. Joe Bellino, Lisa Freshy, all trying to get to work with the township to get something going with the pilots. And I have to say, I think this is the furthest we've gotten so far, hearing the council meeting last night. And I understand the township and the Board of Education, we work extremely well together. And I don't want to lose that working relationship with the township, with our police department, with our public works. They do a tremendous amount of work for us. Other thing that I found a little bit difficult to understand last night at the meeting is mostly everyone stated on the council that they were really unaware of our budget constraints and that we had such an issue with our budget, and they found out about it when you guys found out. And that to me is, I think that's false, because on February 26th, our budget presentation presented that we were in a $3 million, we needed to find $3 million. And then again on March 24th, our next hearing, we also discussed it. So
With the number of cuts. with the actual number.
with
of-
saying that we had 13 positions that we were going to be cutting. So it was out there, it was at our meetings. It was just unfortunate that no one attended those meetings. So again, I think this is, and thanks to everyone out in the audience and your voice, because I think this is the furthest from hearing the meeting last evening. I think this is the furthest we're getting with getting as closer to getting something from the pilot funds to help.
And I also want to point out that on August 27th, 2024, there is a lengthy resolution on our board agenda that is resolution to compel pilot funds to be shared with boards of education. So August 27th, 2004, you can see that agenda. You can't get more clear than that. August 27th, 2024.
Thank you very much, Denise Frizella, Verona, New Jersey. I just have a quick question. I know we've spent a lot of time talking about the music and arts program, which I am 100% supportive of. My question is, there is also, although not a RIF, there is a math teacher that at the high school level that's not being replaced. How is that going to impact what is able to be offered at the high school level and the sizes of the math classes for the students?
So
Thank you.
math classes, thank you. Math class size will go up, and we actually have a science teacher that is picking up because of some changes in enrollment in the science numbers. One of our science teachers will be teaching across math and science, so picking up one of those math sections. And anytime you reduce, I'll give you an example, reducing the English staff member at the high school, those remaining classes will get more kids in them. We have, so that's what's going to happen. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, Mary Ellen McHugh. I just have a quick question because we've gotten mixed answers on this question. The 2% cap for the budget, if the schools were to receive pilot funds, would those have to fall within that 2% cap, or would those be in excess of that 2% cap? Because we've received different answers on that.
In excess.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Chris Barrows, Verona resident. I just want to say, one, thank you for the update. Still trying to come to an understanding. One, as a parent of a middle school student who has loved his experience and music has been at the heart of his life, I want to thank you for working on these things. I'm interested in the impact at the middle school level and just making sure I have a full understanding. And the second thing I want to say was I was also at the meeting last night, and one thing I thought was really important was beyond the, and I apologize, but it's fact, like 35 minutes that I got to hear from our mayor. There was a lot of things in there, but one of the things he said stood out to me, and I wanted these students to hear it and know it, but I reiterated this. They talked about the shared services because it's more of a going forward thing on what maybe can tweak. It sounds like you've got good things, but you can always look, right? But one of the things that I reiterate, because it was stated in a way as if they provided more than you provided. And it kind of bugged me. And I want to state loud and clear that the students show up and they perform at all of these events. They are singing the national anthem. They're present. They were at an event for the business night out. And so I reiterated this, that what I asked them, and I wasn't expecting an answer, so not complaining about that, but I asked them, what is the economic value essentially of that? Because if you were to hire someone to sing your national anthem, you are spending money. So I just wanted to reiterate that because I think it's incredibly important. And when you come to those conversations, I don't want to call them negotiations, but when you come to those conversations, it's just a point I want to bring up because the amount that they would have to spend to do that is extraordinary. And we have extraordinary students who do amazing things with their musical talent. So I just thought that was important to state. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Our shared services, and I do go on record every time we talk about it and thank that township for the services they provide us, but they are reciprocal. We provide our fields, our classrooms for the summer camp programs.
And you can't run a rec department without the Verona Board of Education lending its schools. And it's really nice that they want to cut up the lawn as part of the give back and do the dumpster things. But like, again, we don't ever want to go nuclear because we love the rec programs too. But like there's a whole lot of value in how important the rec programs are in Verona, and you can't have it without us.
Hi, Maria Conti, Verona. Just wanted to say thank you for listening and taking the time to review things. I also wanted to start to maybe begin the conversation moving forward to next year. I know we haven't even finished this year, but a lot of us are really concerned and have sort of pledged to ourselves that we would be more involved in this process going forward. We hear you and we hear the town council when you say, we're sitting here talking to empty rooms. So with that being said, I do think that we're going to try to, be more involved. And I hope that transparency becomes more of a priority as we move forward so that we don't find ourselves here next April, May, talking about what a surprise this is. We'd like to be more involved. We hope you would like us to be more involved. And with that being said, also, I'm curious if after we're done with this conversation, you can give us a sense of what 2028 is going to be like. I know that there are a million variables that can change state aid funding and all of that, but are we in for even worse next year? Because that's something we would want to begin as parents thinking about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public that would like to come up? Seeing none, we're going to move on to our action items. So I need a motion, please, to approve our personnel resolutions A1 through A2.
I'll move it.
Motion by Mr. Waka, seconded by Mr. Boone. Are there any discussions? Dr. Riley, if you could please call roll.
Mr. Waka?
Yes.
Mr. Perna? Yes. Mrs. Prisco?
Yes.
Mr. Boone?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to our finance resolutions, I need a motion to approve resolutions B1 to B5.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Boone, seconded by Mr. Waka. Are there any discussions? Dr. Riley, if you could please call roll.
Mr. Waka?
Yes.
Mr. Perna? Yes. Mrs. Prisco?
Yes.
Mr. Boone?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We have one more public comment. If there's anyone else that would like to come up on any items, please feel free. State your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Brendan Walsh again, and if you don't want to provide an answer, that's fine. I did have another, so I just raising it in the event you wanted to. If you don't have to, just raising it again about just more details about the plan.
Yeah, so in Ripping, it's still one position in music at the high school because enrollment was such next year that for 2 full-time teachers, we had effectively 3 1/2 or 3 full-year courses and 1 semester course of credit-bearing courses. So that would, and if we kept the initial proposal would be to have 1 teacher teach both choir and band, which under New Jersey certification, they are certified and trained to do. So that was our first go-to. We realized that was not making anyone happy, including the individual who was going to be teaching it. So in looking at how we can do that, what's much more complicated is to say the one position is a half of an instrumental instructor and half of a choir instructor. It's still the one position, but it's easier to staff. Well, it's actually much more complicated to staff. Let me say that now because RIF constraints don't allow. I can't reduce a senior member even to part-time. So then that has to be a split schedule, right? So we're splitting schedules and it becomes much more complicated. Can we do it? Yes. Can we do it so that the priorities that were clearly articulated to us last week allows for it? Yes. It's more complicated for us and it's more complicated for our staff. And we actually lose a little bit of instructional minutes across the board because when you enter travel into a teacher's schedule, there's a mandated allotment of travel time that we have to provide, which will cut into instructional minutes. It's not going to be horrible, but one of the reasons we try to not have staff move from building to building is we don't want to lose 15 minutes of instructional time. Someone's staying in one building all day, we don't lose that time. So that was not our first consideration. Our first consideration is under certification rules, what can we do? Because we certainly, in a budget deficit of 3.2 million, say that a single teacher can teach one credit bearing course and 48 sections of lessons. It's just, it can't be done. I mean, it's fiscally irresponsible. So that's what I was faced with. So we decided to combine those positions so that one person was teaching 3.5 sections and the rest of the day lessons. And by the way, even with the part-time, it creates like a scheduling problem for administration, but it still preserves lessons at the high school as well. So does that answer your question? I'm not gonna talk staffing. I'm not gonna say who's going where in this forum. It's really. Okay.
Hi, Megan Walsh, 95 Fairway. Just in light of that, and I just was wondering, because I know that the last meeting, there was a discussion of an issue finding substitutes. Could that part-time position be paired as also a full-time sub in order to maybe make it more attractive if you're getting a little bit more money and also solve a problem of the district? I don't know if that's something you compare, but just throwing it out there.
Actually, because we're splitting positions, it's really, they are full-time across the district. They're just not full-time in one building. So that wouldn't work. But it is that coverage problem is a real problem. We're on track to spending somewhere in the neighborhood of $79,000 in internal class coverage.
Chris Barrows again, Verona resident. I just one quick question, at the elementary level, you mentioned the kids are able to check out of the library. Is there any need, because I know parents will do it, so I just want to say it. I know I'm not the only one, but books are incredibly important. I'm a library trustee in this
I know
town,
you
so
are.
I adore
am
the
I.
library. So I just want to make sure that can just happen. So is there a need for support from parents? Parents already donate their time to obviously lunch and stuff. I guarantee you parents will donate their time to help the kids get a book and all that, if that's something that we can help do. And I will probably be one of
That is
them. if that was the
Absolutely
case.
what you can help do. And we
So-
will be asking parents to do library volunteering.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
That was actually a structure pre-COVID in this district. We had parents in every library in the elementary and the
Yeah.
middle school for that matter.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none? All righty. The next scheduled regular public meeting will be held on Thursday, May 14th, 2026, beginning with the confidential session at 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. for public session in the Verona High School Learning Commons. I need a motion, please, to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Perna, seconded by Mr. Boone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all again for being here tonight. Have a great night.